And welcome to part 6 of our exploration of the Vue 3 JavaScript framework and its use in building web forms. We've got a web form here that we built, and it submits data to a server, an echo server. It echoes the data right back to us. And it works. It's great. Good. But I'm going to do a little bit of qualifying here. First, this datetime field. It's really a depreciated field, so I'm just going to get rid of it. If you want to use that, either use a separate date and time field or use datetime-local. Okay, so another little cleanup field that we want to do here is we submitted using multi-part form data. What I neglected to show you was how to submit using URL-encoded data. So let's do that right now. URLSearchParams. URLSearchParams can take in form data that by default gives us multi-part form data and converts it into URL encoded. Now it's an object, so we have to give it a new, that's the constructor. Save, so that's good, and if I submit now, you can see it's now application URL encoded data. It's that simple to change. Well, good. Now we can move on to today's exercises. So I'm going to start off by starting up a echo server that's written in PHP. The previous one was written in Node because Node is very good at echoing back the raw data, and PHP is very good at parsing the data. And you can see the parsed data runs through a whole lot of error checking here. And there's a whole lot of reasons that errors can come back to the end user. The server will reject the data, and if it's okay with it, it just echoes the data right back that was sent to it. Alright, so let's take a look at the first error message that the server will send us. Error, agreed is required. Alright, well, we've got an agreed field down here, down on the Boolean group. So let's give that a name. Equals agreed. Alright, and if I try submitting that, it says it's still required. Yes, well, a checkbox needs to have both a name and a checked value in order to be sent to the server. Let's see if I check it. We move on to the next error message. So, first of all, I'm going to wrap the text using Alt-Z. So you can see the what's going on, and I'm going to get the browser to do some validating for us using the required attribute. This is basic HTML. Good. Now I'll try and submit. The browser has caught the error. Please check this box if you want to proceed. Great. That's wonderful. Less errors going to the server, the better. Well, as good as this is, how does the user supposed to know that that's a required field as opposed to all the other fields that are out there? Well, one thing that is quite common is people put a little asterisk beside the label just to let people know, these users know there's something special about this field. But I'm going to put an asterisk, but I'm going to do it using a style sheet. And let me scroll down to our style sheets here. There we go. Let's define what our required is, and any before the content, we put in content of the asterisk. Okay, now as I save this, you'll notice that the asterisk will show up by agreed. And that's now there because of our style sheet, which is a good start, but we haven't told the user what an asterisk means yet. So let's do that. So we'll do a little aside, and the aside is so there's semantic meaning, and we can say required field. There we go. Now we've told the user what an asterisk means, and if they try and submit it out, we get the error message, and there we've helped both the user we can move on to the next error. So let's check that, and let's see what the server will complain about next. Error, a word is required. Word. All right. Well, let's take this event field and give that a name equal to word. All right, well, we know it's required. And we can give it the class equal to req, so it's got the asterisk. That's good. We can do a little bit more here though, because it is a input field that takes in characters. We can give it a placeholder. And required, there we go, a nice little grayed out message that will disappear the moment we put in data. See that? It's only there when there's no data. That's good. And we can do a little bit more to help the user. We can do another style sheet here. We can just say anytime a field is required, we can do a background color of, I'll choose azure. There we go. Nice light blue. Just enough to let the user know there's something different about this field. Alright, well, let's put in some data and move on to the next error. And error, word, minimum length of 5 characters. Oh, well, we're currently only at 3 characters. That's not enough. So let's go back up to our required word field here, and we'll do a minimum length, another HTML attribute, 5. Okay, we'll try and submit that, and good, it gives us the error. That's one less error being sent to the server. Okay, but how about we do a little bit more to help the user out? We could say when the input is invalid, we can give it an outline, and we'll give it a medium thickness, and we'll make it dotted, and red is a nice color. There, that shows up pretty good. Alright, so how about we tell the user when the field is actually valid. When the field is valid, we'll put in a thin outline. We'll make it solid, and green is a nice, hey, you did it right value. Okay, we got green showing up all over the place. It didn't show up for text area. Here, we should do that. We should capture text area. Text area. When that is valid. Good. And what about down here for these select boxes? Select valid. There, they've now got green borders like they should. And we'll do these, what we've done here for the valids, we'll do the same thing for the invalids. There we go. Alright. So, we have done quite a bit to help the user know what's going on here. There's one more thing that I think might be nice for the user to know about. How about we put an input, and the user is focused on that input, and the valid, it's invalid. How about we change the outline color to say, how about yellow? There we go. So that's kind of a nice way of telling the user, hey, we know you're trying to fix the problem. Oh, I can barely see yellow. How about we make that orange? There we go. That's better. So you see, we're telling the user, hey, we know you're trying to fix the problem. There's still an issue here, but thanks, we know you're trying to do it. All right. C, D, and E, and there we are. Now it gets a valid field. Well, I think we've done quite a bit to help the user now. So there's just a little bit of cleanup I think we should do though. See, we've got an outline around that input tag. I don't think we want that there. So how about we say not. So that tag has a type, an attribute, type. If I can type properly, there we go, equal to submit. Submit, there we go. And now that outline disappears. Good. How about we get rid of the outline around the color? We'll do a comma separated list. Color, good. And we get rid of the outline around checkboxes. There we go. The outline around checkboxes is gone. And how about the outline around range? All right. And how about the outline around radio buttons? All right. There we go. So I think we've cleaned this field up quite a bit. I suppose we could remove it from around file fields as well, but no, that's enough for now. That's a personal preference on what you want to do there. So let's see what our next error is. Our next error is num is required. Num. All right, well, let's just try up here in vModel. We'll use this field here, vModel, and we'll give that a name equals num. I wonder what num means. What does num mean? What data is that supposed to be? A num required. Oh. Name. There we go. If you can spell it correctly. Error. Num, not a number. So anyone who's familiar with JavaScript will know that NaN means not a number. Well, how about we'd use the number field? That's why the number field exists, to validate numbers. Good. And, well, we put in required, we put in placeholder, and we put in our class to give it the asterisk. All right, so let's clear that out, and there we are. Everything seems to be working fine. We try and submit it, enter a number. Okay, we said something that's not a number, enter a number. Great. 0, that's a number. Okay, everything looks good there. Let's try submitting it. Error. Num has a 5 minimum. Okay, well, I suppose we need to do a little more validation. Let's put in minimum equals 5. Okay, and we'll submit that. Value no less than 5. That's a good message to give. Okay. That looks like a valid value. And yeah, apparently it is, because it's moving us on to the next message. But let's put in a ridiculously big number. And num has a max of 100. Okay, well, let's put in max 100 then. Okay. So if we try and submit a big value, it gives us a good easy error message. And there we are. I think we've done everything we can on the number field to validate that. So the next error message is details is required. Details is required. Well, let's see. Details. That is actually something that sounds kind of wordy, and textarea is meant for a whole lot of words. Details, right? So let's give it a name, equals details, and apparently it's well, okay, I'm just going to copy and paste all this stuff up here. Start typing it out again. There we go. And give it a class equals REQ for required. There we go. So now if I try and submit, please fill out this field. And you notice we have focus on it and it didn't go orange. There's something I missed down here in the style sheet, so let's do that now. We did input focus invalid. Let's also do text area focus invalid. And just for good measure, we'll also do select focus invalid. There we go. So now if I focus on that, it'll go orange for us. That's good. Okay, back up here in our text area. Where's our text area? There is our text area. We want to put in some text, some long text. Well, I'm going to get some what is called Lorem Ipsum. Those unfamiliar with Lorem Ipsum, it's just text that looks like words, but it's excuse me. There we go. Now I'll cut that out. Alright, now I can copy and paste that over. There's our Lorem Ipsum text. See, it's all nice and put in. And if I hit submit, details has a max length of 255. Okay, well, just like we did with minimum length, it's easy enough to put in a maximum length. Max length equals 255. Okay, and submit. Oh, well, we still got too many characters. Let's take some out. There we go. And it's moving us on to the next error, so apparently we're good, but how close are we to... Oh, you see, we're pretty close to 255, but there was no way of really knowing. We can help the user know how close they are to that maximum. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in an aside and simple words. That's where we're storing the data that we put into our text area here. Simple words dot length. All right, and we got, oh, you see we're using 255 characters right now, but before we're using 242 characters. All right, so 255 of 255 max. Okay, so now we have got something that's much more useful. We can tell the user, hey, here's how close you are to filling this field up entirely. And we'll just do a little bit of formatting here. We'll take any time you have a text area and an aside is beside that text area, we'll do a text align right. So it's a little more underneath there, a little bit easier to read. Okay, well, that is good for now. There are more errors, obviously, to deal with, but we've dealt with a lot of validating right now. Most of it was in style sheets or HTML itself. A little bit in Vue helped us out. This code will be put up on GitHub for you to browse at your leisure. And hey, I look forward to hearing, well, thank you for watching part 6 of our exploration of the Vue 3 JavaScript framework and its use in building web forms. Goodbye for now.